roll into this thing. I can't tell if I feel good about this lighting. Jake, you're
You
handsome and
always
intelligent.
every time you just mess up the lighting.
Well, dude, it's
I've
it's
got a
aggressive,
I've actually got a ring light with me. I haven't plugged it in.
and you
But
have it on.
no, I can turn it on though.
I just don't know. I mean, like the thing that you start to learn when you get into like media 101, they're like lighting. Lighting is very important. So I get this light bar. Alex gets it for me, to be totally honest, and it just blasts my face, and I feel like half of my face is lit up. So
We
I
can
don't
see
know,
your whole
man.
face. It
You
looks
look
good.
good,
Yeah,
man. You look good.
I'm divided. I'm divided, dude. How have you been?
I'm good, man. Very good. Yeah.
I'm
Working
entirely
hard.
excited to come see you.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm actually in Manchester from Wednesday, so I'll I might. What time's your thingy? Is it in the evening?
Yeah, it's Thursday evening at Cammy's gym. It's like High Performance Center. I always screw up the name of their gym, and they're probably going to shoot me when they hear this. But we're going to start that mid-afternoon on Thursday, and then we're doing like a meet and greet thing on Friday at the Sports Direct store. But I think like in and around all that, dinner parties,
Yeah, always,
gallivanting,
always.
probably going to go to a burlesque show.
I'll be there. I'll be burlesquing.
Yes, it's out of curiosity, since you are a true Brit, like what is Manchester considered, classy or trashy?
I think it's gone through its phases.
Is it transform? Is it classy now?
Kind of. I guess it's like it's quite a same with everywhere. Big city. So
So
there's a lot of shit areas, but there's a lot of
Is the race going to be in the same area that Worlds was at?
probably.
Yeah.
same venue. I think.
I liked it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, it's
It's
nice.
incredible. So as a man who is very hooked on the ladies, I will like cruise around the internet, and there's this reoccurring theme. There's this reoccurring theme of chicks in Manchester. Like they just keep on. It's like becoming a trend on the internet, talking about women going out at night in Manchester, and they slut it up. Let's be
Yeah,
honest. Like they're wearing nothing,
if
and I'm like,
if you go into town, you'll see some flesh. I'm sure. Even on a night like a night like yesterday, like
what, just like
they're like
sideways rain. They're still coming out.
they'll be in like high heels.
Yeah, what's another really creepy thing that I can't really get over with chicks in the UK is you chicks will put this brown paste all over their body. It's like the hand rubbing tanner.
Oh, the tan. Yeah,
Have you seen that?
yeah.
And then if you like,
I used to do it myself.
okay,
I used to have a moisturizer that was tinted moisturizer.
but dude, these girls will like if you like just look at their hands, they look like ET hands.
Yeah, I don't get it. To be fair, I'm not. But
I
I mean,
understand.
you're asking the wrong person, I guess, from girl perspective.
Yeah, I know, but like I honestly like there's a thing with me with chicks, like it only takes one thing to make me go ick and I'm done. And that fake tanner, girls, if you're listening,
Don't do
creeps
it.
me out. It creeps me out, dude. I don't want anything to do with it. And you were in Manchester last season, weren't you, Ryan? You came with
I was
us.
there. Yeah, I was there for Worlds. I didn't notice I didn't notice anyone, but I'm kind of oblivious sometimes. Maybe. I didn't notice anyone like having this ET flesh
They do
colored
have ET hands. To be fair.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, Birmingham, Manchester, which one's the I mean, you live in Birmingham, so I know this is a little bit slighted, but I'm really trying to get into the culture
Probably
here.
Manchester's probably better. I'd say.
And how'd you end up picking Birmingham?
I moved up for Paul, didn't I? So I was in
Love?
Yeah, fell in love. Yeah, and Paul had a house, so it was easy for me to just
Help from daddy's got a
come move
house.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, dude, what have you been up to these days? I want to start from like a soft point, and then we'll dig into all the weeds and everything. I want to know, like, I mean, every single time I look at your social media, you're doing something that's more impressive than the last time. I saw you making posts with Marvel, Lululemon, traveling, and I'm just like,
Oh.
damn. I swear to
Oh.
God, I don't really get like jealous or envious of anybody because I'm a rocket ship, baby. Like, rocket ships don't have rear view mirrors, but
I've seen that, yeah.
sometimes I look to the side of me and I'm like, you're right there, or you're ahead of me because you're already around the world and back again by the time I check your social media.
Yeah, life's been quick paced the last 6 months, to be fair. It's been heavy on the social media side of things, just in terms of sort of, as you know, trying to create a bit of a profile and a reputation within the fitness world. I feel like I kind of had a reputation within the gay world and sort of gay sport, but within like high rocks and mainstream media, I hadn't quite mastered that yet. The biggest thing that I'm doing now is
Hottest dude in High Rocks, dude.
setting up my own gym in Birmingham. So I find out tomorrow whether I get the go ahead on the space effectively, and I'm gonna crack on with that.
So we're gonna kind of bounce all around with this thing, but I'm gonna start
Should I
with a
pull this up
story,
later?
and then what's that? Yeah, you can
Should I
show this
pull
up
that up
later.
later? Okay.
Yeah, I had heard about you many times in just like rooms around the world about this dude who's coming up, this speed demon, all this kind of stuff, and I didn't know much about you. There's always this like these people all over the world. The world's a very widespread and pretty populated place, but your name continued to keep on popping up. And I was like, yeah, we'll see the guy when I see the guy. And then we go to Forders, and I'm a chatty Cathy, but at the same time, like I did want to win that competition. So I was like pretty much locked into competition mode. And then there was just this dude that just kept on showing up. And I remember when I really noticed you was when we had that sprint lap one, and you just murdered everybody. And I
Yeah,
was like, And you weren't all over the place. You weren't like making trying to stir up a pot like I'm Mr. Hot shit. Like you were just doing your thing. Very pleasant, very kind, very cool. And then I think I actually started talking to your trainer. And in that same moment, you kind of came into the picture and came up, and you and I just started chatting a little bit. And I was just asking you what you're up to, what do you got going on. And I remember you mentioning to me, I was like, why don't you try this? Why don't you try that? And you brought up the idea. You're like, I can't really do that with work. And, I'm having trouble with this. And I just very bluntly told you, I said, quit everything that you're doing and believe in yourself. Like, if your boss is going to try to put a rope around you and put a limitation around you, like, unbind yourself, cut the leash, go, dude, just go. And, I often do say that to people because I had to do the same thing myself to believe in myself. And when I say I often say it to people, I never have that second conversation with them because they never end up following through. And in a short period of time, you have literally transformed like 10x.
I pretty much went into work the next day, and I said, "So I'm going to LA. I'm going to go out with Hunter and train." And they didn't stop me. They just said, "Yeah, we pretty much saw it was coming." But I think I'll always use that story because I think I did need someone to almost say like, just quit effectively, because I was getting to that point and training was going well. I hadn't really done any results. I mean, I only did my first Hyrox was Barcelona in March 2023 when you broke the world record. You were there, and then I put my back out, so I couldn't really do many competitions this year.
So I want to really look at this now because I think you're in a very interesting position where your brand is really built around the idea. Like I would admittedly say that your brand is built around the idea that you're a guy who came out and used to be a pro soccer player, football player for your terms. Americans listening, soccer, that's where you kick the ball around into boxes.
He's a footballer.
He's a footballer. And you came out and you had some backlash, and I don't know the exact details. I'll let you get into it, but you were no longer on the team after that. And you started to really build your brand around your homosexual identity. And I'm curious, and I wanted to talk to you today. Like, I see something far beyond that. I think so many people will just look at you and brand you as that person. When I met you, I didn't really care whatever you're doing in the bedroom. That's whatever, dude. Do what you got to do. But you have a lot of raw talent. You have a lot of star power. You're a very high quality person, but you're a high potential person also. Not a lot of people have both those cards in their deck. You can be high quality, you can be high potential. But having two of them, totally different story. And like today, I wanted to ask you about like the work that it's going to take to be not necessarily be put into that box of just being a gay guy who plays sports. Like, I see you as having aspirations of being a real athlete, like a contender, a competitor. And like, it's my question to you is as we talk about this today, like, how do you feel about the position you're in right now? Like, where do you want to be? And like, what do you think it's going to take to get there? And do you think at all in this conversation, there's going to be a struggle at all of having to have one ass and ride two horses? Like, you are becoming a massive brand ambassador in the space of the homosexual community, but then also you have a second responsibility, which is to be an athlete in sport as well, but also be somebody who's a flag bearer for the homosexual community in sport. And I think a big part of that is showing that you can be successful, you can be strong, and like you can do both.
Yeah, I think that's sometimes it's probably one of my biggest reasons why. Like, I know we talk about like, why do you do something? Obviously, that there's a big element that we all have. High Rocks, there's no real money. Obviously, you can get money through sponsorships and things like that if you're savvy. But there's no money. Like, we don't do it for the money. We do it because we want to be the best in the world at fitness, essentially. But I like having and being the pride role model that I didn't have. Like, it fills me with a certain element of, and if I don't get to be the best, then at least I've achieved something else along the way and provided a platform and a space where people can feel safe and can come out. Because like, it's so hard to understand when you're not gay and you don't have to hide it and you don't have to go through the closet, but it's really, really tough when you're in like a football world or a High Rocks world where it's quite macho and you have to be the toughest guy. Like, it's not pleasant. Like, it's a horrible mental trauma that you put yourself through. So if I can sort of make that mental trauma a bit less for someone else, then I feel like I've been successful in that department. And then onto the other side of things is, we've had this discussion and I think I can be top 3. I reckon I could even beat you at some stage in High Rocks.
Let's go.
But there's a lot of things and a lot of variables that come down to it. But as you said, like the talent's there, the hard work's there, it's just about putting in the performances and the results. I think my biggest thing is probably, I wouldn't say I'm mentally weak, but I would say that's probably the biggest thing that I probably have to work on now, is kind of like, how bad do you want it? Because as you know, there's a pain threshold that you have to put yourself through. That how badly do you want to get those times and things? And we'll see this weekend, won't we?
Yeah,
because I've worked hard and my running's better than everyone in High Rocks. I'm quite comfortable about that, especially along the short distance.
Well, I'll admit, like, I said this to somebody the other day, like, you know, you have to build it up. There is a certain level of like callousness to your brain, the same way there's calluses on your hands. You can't take the kick from a black belt unless you've trained through all the belt systems, and that's both in physicality and mentality. So it is going to take time of you showing up and going through hardship, learning, responding, living, like all these kind of things. I've done hundreds and hundreds of competitions at this point. So you could put me in like a pool with sharks and have to make me play football with them. And you could put me on top of a mountain, and I've had such an experience range, it wouldn't really bother me in either context. Whereas some people would feel completely in comfort in the water and completely out of comfort out of the water, whatever it is. Unless you've been in variety amongst all those places, it's tough to have that level of confidence. And it just shows up. Like, I remember when I watched you and you were having that really hard race, and I think you ran like a 69 in Birmingham.
Yeah.
And then fast forward, I think you set the open record, and then you ran a 59?
59 in Stockholm, yeah.
So then it's like a 10-minute difference. Now, it took that moment of getting a bad day in Birmingham to have a 10-minute slingshot forward into a good moment in Stockholm. That's what I'm talking about.
Your profile says 56, 44
in the open.
Yeah. Wow.
So the wheels are there. You know, I will never forget the first time I understood what the word gay meant. My brother came home from school one day and just kept on calling me gay, and I was like, what does this mean? And it was like, you like boys? And I was like, yeah, I love boys. And it's like, no, you like to kiss boys. And I was like, what? And I was like, really, like, I'm not gonna lie, traumatized for the day. I was like, does everyone in the house think I do that now? And I have 3 older brothers and my dad, and it was short-lived. But it was the first time I had ever encountered that. And I didn't wear it like it because it wasn't me, but I can't even imagine what it would be like to go through all of these years like that of having that under, like where maybe some kid walked up to you in school like, "What up, fag?" And it really was true to you. It wasn't just like a no, shoot it right over the top. It was just a insult for the moment. But I'll never forget that day. I will never forget that day because I had never known what it meant, and then I never had like knew why it was bad or wrong, and then I had this like moment. I was like, oh. And now it doesn't really matter at all. You can do whatever the heck you want, but there was a little bit of a negative connotation to it. There's a really big negative
Yeah,
connotation to it.
so, yeah.
And I was like, fuck, man, that was weird. That was scary. So for you, like, when did you know that this was a reality for you, and how? I mean, I believe it. I read in the article you came out like when in COVID, when you're like 2021, I believe.
Yeah, I was 21.
You're 21. So what was the gap? So that was 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
Yeah, 5.
So what was like the gap from like the day where you're like, this is me to like 21 years old? Like, how long were you wearing that for? Like, keeping that secret?
Since I was 14, 15.
Shit.
Yeah. Long time. But I guess like it's weird because within the gay community, you have people that don't come out till they're 30. So when you come out at 21, you feel privileged to be like, oh, I owned it at that point. I think that there's so many factors and so many different things that kind of play a part of it. But when I was like 14, 15, tried to have girlfriends and things, and I did have girlfriends, but it was just like I just thought that was how everyone felt. So I was just like, oh, okay, cool. And then you kind of dabble and watch a bit of porn and stuff, and then you're like, ah, shit. I'm into that now.
This page is a lot more exciting than this page.
Yeah. and then you just hide it, man. Like you go through football, you try and play professional football, you try and fit in with the crowd. Like you don't fit the stereotypes of what you deem being gay to be. So lack of role models. Football in the UK, soccer is a huge topic. Like anytime anyone comes out or like discusses the topic about being gay, it's huge because there's no gay footballers in any league.
I'm sure there's probably a ton and nobody's talking about
definitely
it.
A ton, yeah.
Well, on your Good Morning Britain, it was saying that in 1990 was the first open gay footballer.
Yeah,
but
Justin
wasn't really.
And then Justin actually took his own life as well.
I'm about to say that'd be a pretty fucking hard day to come out of closet back in 1990 in the UK.
Yeah, and he's a black guy as well, so he just had a terrible time pretty much. And then that was kind of like almost the role model, is that like he came out tough, things were terrible for him. His brother made his life hell, and then he moved to America and then took his own life. So it's like there's just as you say, so many negative connotations to it that hopefully me being one of the only few top athletes, if you can call High Rocks a sport in terms of like the mainstream media, that's why the profile has essentially grown the way it has, is because I'm so open about talking about it and I own it and still.
So the time that you were playing football and everything, even your best friends, your best mates there, you didn't feel like there was the level of keeping a secret if you were to tell them?
Yeah, it was more like the mental denial from myself. Like it wasn't really to do with anyone else. It was the fact that I didn't really want to be gay. So that was the biggest thing.
Was there anybody you were like truly terrified of telling?
Parents were hard.
Yeah.
I cried for 15 minutes before I told my dad, and he asked me if I was dying, and I just said no, I'm gay. No, it wasn't that bad. But yeah, so that's the level of shit that you go through in your own head, but it's fine now, obviously.
Did you lose any friends in the process, like true friends?
Not because of that. I moved away, and like life's just busy. As you know, like you just move on. I wouldn't say I lost friends. I'd just say that like times change, and it's been 5 years, so like naturally you build new friendships and move into different circles. Like High Rocks wasn't really a thing now back then, so I moved. High Rocks became a thing. Got more into functional fitness.
I want to challenge you with something. Just a few minutes ago, you said, I don't know if we consider like High Rocks a main sport, and you kind of put your hands up. No insult whatsoever. I had a moment where I kept on flying around the world doing Tough Mudders and Spartan races, and I'd be sitting next to somebody, and I was working my ass off, so I'm sitting first class, and these people are like, "What do you do?" And they're like, "Oh, yeah, I'm a business executive. I own like $3 billion, $1 trillion, blah blah blah." And they're like, "What do you do?" And I'm like, I run obstacle course races for a living." And they're like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, like Tough Mudders, Spartan races." They're like, I think my niece did that last week. They're like, "That's a job." And I had reached this point in my heart and soul where I was like, fuck this. I was like, I am never going to get on an airplane ever again and let somebody be confused about what I do. I want them to know who I am when I sit next to them. I want them to understand that my job, my sport is a real job. And I want them to know that I'm a freaking freak and one of the most insane athletes on the planet. So I challenge you, because you are now a flag bearer for this community and a lot of people are watching you. Like, don't allow it to be a question. Let it be a certainty that every single time you walk into a room where people are not like, "Oh, that's Jake. I think he's this gay guy on Instagram." But like, no, Jake's a professional runner in high
That's
rocks.
Jake, High Rocks
That's
runner.
yeah. Like, I challenge you, because this is part of the reason why I wanted to interview today, is because you are going to be the future of this sport. So you need to hold that standard. Anytime you do something, you do it with professionalism. Anytime you show up, you do the best. Anytime you're in a room, like, you're not like a less than the track and field athletes or the triathletes or the CrossFitters. Like, you're at their level, if not a beyond their level. That's why when I show up at the track and I'm like, "Oh, these guys are all a bunch of marathon runners," like, I'm leading every loop. I'm gonna be the front of every single repetition so that people don't be like, "I don't know if high rocks athletes can run." I'm like, "Watch my back for the next 45 minutes, bitch."
Yeah, I'll break the wind for you as I.
Yeah, yeah. So I just want to leave you with that, not to detract from our story time. So there was obviously this pinnacle moment also in your football team, and it seems to be kind of like the trajectory board for you. How did that come about? Like, was it like a conversation moment, or someone found out and started spreading rumors around the team? Was like, Jake's gay, or what happened here?
Yeah, so I did an interview with BBC, which is like a big broadcaster in the UK.
It's hard to hide
And
that one.
yeah, and I and I did a podcast with them, and it went on Twitter and was like quite a big thing because, again, I was playing football at the time. Not, as I said, not many people come out while still playing football. Not like I was playing it. I wasn't even playing at a high level at that point. I was just playing with my mates at Sunday football. I then moved up to Birmingham, kind of part time, to move up with Paul, and work brought me up here as well. Joined a team, literally playing Sunday football. So Saturday football tends to be like a bit of a higher level. Sunday football is in the morning.
Yep.
Most people have been on the piss the night before, probably rock up from the pub with their boots in their bag type situation. You get kicked a lot. It's not very pleasant. Yeah, and they saw the interview, and then I found out later that the manager had put in a group chat saying, "Guys, have you heard about Jake?" But at the time, I had just been removed from the group chat and wasn't spoke to again from any of them.
Really?
Yeah. And then I saw one of the girls later, and she was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry that happened, blah blah blah." But yeah, the manager put in the group chat, "Have you heard about Jake?" And I was like, it was just really strange. Like, yeah, I didn't think too much of it at the time, but I definitely used it as a point in my life to be like, a bit like you said with High Rocks, is like, just start owning it a bit more and start talking about it and representing and like answering questions that people have, and then it kind of, by doing the Q&As and questions and talking about it and talking about topics that people don't necessarily feel comfortable talking about, like gay sex, the profile just blew up.
Yeah.
And then crossover with being a very good athlete.
Ever since you and I became buddies, I've got this pretty solid gay following, and I'm very grateful, because they are the nicest people. Like, even in my darkest moments of pictures and videos, they're like, "I'd still hit it, you handsome devil." Like, yes. Girls are so lame, dude. Girls aren't just gonna go out of their way and be like, "Hey,
the girls don't comment.
Dude, that's why.
The guys will comment on anything you post.
Oh, bless your hearts. Bless your damn hearts. Because here's the thing. This is why girls have such humongous social media followings with so much massive engagement, because women literally will post something and dudes are just like so shameless. All social media likes and comments, I think, come from men. Like if you go into the comment section, like for every like 10 to 20 male comments, there's one female comment. Dudes are just in there just throwing down, and it's either love, hate, whatever the heck it is.
Yeah,
They're the ones moving the needle. And you know, it's nice to have some of that positive fire in your corner. So I love the community, dude. Like whenever there's this one gay guy who follows, and anytime I post with black socks on, he just is like, he just has this like licky
And
face.
we're not afraid to just sort of like let everyone know that they've got a fetish or something. Like,
yeah, dude, black socks of all things, and I'm like,
Love the black socks.
yeah, I'm like, dude, honestly, I'm here for that. I'm like, I just bought a new sleeve of black socks, keep the fans moving. So you have this moment, and obviously, like it probably put you through a spin. And I don't know if it did or not. That's why we're talking. How long did it take from that moment until all of a sudden you like planted your feet on the ground and said, I'm getting back out there? Because like I believe that you got into road running and stuff, and like you're a weapon of a runner. Did you know? Well, we'll come next. How long did it take you to go from that to get into like I'm gonna start running again?
So when I moved up to Birmingham, the first place that one of my friends actually lived not far away, and she used to run at the track. So she said, "I'll come down to the track." And at that point, I was like, I mean, I was still a pretty good runner because of COVID. I just got back into running again. Was low 17-minute 5K at that point, and then joined the track club, and that was it. I trained there twice a week at the track, Tuesday, Thursday, and then network of runners started to build up, and then ended up running with a group called TMR. Guy called Carl Wellborn, who's a 2:20 marathon runner, set up this group. There's like 60 odd athletes all over the UK in this group, and every Sunday we'd do a long run and start doing marathon blocks and sessions. And then when that happened and I wasn't playing football anymore, I was like, fuck it, I'll do a marathon. Trained up, did a marathon block, probably underestimated it a little bit. And then that became my social network, running. So every Tuesday, Thursday, long run Sunday. And then obviously I do my own bits and bobs in between, but I run with the runners at that point.
When did you know that you were a weapon? Just weaponized steel, the power bottom.
Well, I'm not in comparison to the runners. Like,
yeah, but dude, for your size,
I did a cross country race last weekend. I mean, I did do a leg day the day before, but I came like 77th out of.
How tall are you, Jake?
6'1".
Yeah, you got to recognize, dude. Like I'm sure if you decided, let's just say, to put in a pure running block, let's just maybe say you could probably drop into like the top 20 or 30, maybe. I don't know what that field was like, but let's talk about this. Anybody who's listening who's still a fanatic of sport on this channel, I have recognized that after 160 pounds, which is probably about 70 kilos, that your likelihood of succeeding in speed of sport drops down. The further you go away from 160 pounds or 65 kilos, whatever the fuck it is, 65, 70 kilos, you're moving away from the sun. And, you know, there's a certain body weight and body type that will allow you to run fast. And what do you run at? Like 88 kilos? 90?
Yeah, 88.
So you're potentially 20 kilos heavier than the heaviest of all of those runners out there. Like I spent my career when we were really going after it. There was a guy named Ryan Atkins who was 165 pounds most of the time. And then there was like Holy Call and Cody Moat at 145 pounds. And these are like just children compared to me in size. And compared to you as well, dude. Like, you know, really, really, really small people. And every pound over a certain threshold is just basically extra weight getting in the way of you getting faster. And even at this size right now, like let's just say, let's just get into the weeds on this. What's a good 5K time for you in like the last 12 months?
I ran 15:25 a couple months back. I think if I ran a 5K now, flat out, I'd probably run a 15:40.
Okay, so you're looking at like 3:10Ks, right?
Yeah, a bit under.
That's insane.
Yeah,
that's insane, dude. Like that's that's high level, like even for high school and college. Obviously when you get to the D1s or the highest level schools, it's different. Out of curiosity, like, is there a really good, like, I know there's some pretty talented runners out of the UK. You guys always seem to be weapons in the Olympics, but it doesn't seem like you guys have like the college system we have here where there's like a really fierce
No,
NCAA running.
People would go out to America to run if they were serious.
Yeah.
We go out to the States now. We don't have this. We don't have the same structure with the sports, not for running and things anyway. There's no funding behind it. It's all kind of self-funded. A lot of the athletes have to build social media profiles to even get sponsorships or money. Like some of them might get a little bit lucky and get kit and things, but with that track and field based stuff, and it's a bit similar to the High Rocks in a sense that you do it because it's a passion, you love it, and you want to be the best, as opposed to anything else.
So when you let go of soccer, soccer let go of you, hard to decide, but did you know that you were like, I'm gonna go into running, or did you know about High Rocks at that point? Like, where were your ambitions lying?
Well, I was probably just. So I went out to Chicago for a month just to get out there, finish football, quit my job essentially. I used to work in sales, and I used to sell light bulbs for a living.
Smash. You could sell me a light bulb anytime.
Yeah,
Like, tell me about the dimensions of that light bulb.
Yeah.
How well does it fit in? How bright is it?
So quit that, and then I moved. I've got some friends who live in Chicago, and they own a gym, so I went out there and did some training and stuff with them. And then that's kind of when I heard about High Rocks. So High Rocks Chicago was on at the time when I was out there. I probably should have done it just for fun, but I didn't.
Was I there or no?
I don't know. I didn't know anyone in the High Rocks world or anything at that point.
What year is it?
And then I thought, might as well try this because I train in that capacity anyway, really. Or I was training in that capacity in terms of my running volume was high, my gym work was high because I'd always just been in the gym for football purposes or soccer purposes more than anything else. And then, just booked on to Barcelona in March, and I ran a 66 on the first one without any real like specificity. But yeah, the wall balls caught me out big time. It was like a 6.5 minute, 7 minute wall ball. So
yeah, I tell a lot of people when like I'm training them, they're like, I want to do more wall balls. I'm like, dude, can you do 100 air squats unbroken? And almost nobody can.
Yeah.
Like, you'd be so surprised. Like, you can go into the gym and do 5x5 back squat with 150 kilos on your back, but then all of a sudden, once you get past 20 air squats, like your butt cheeks just blow up.
Yeah. So that's been a big thing, is increasing volume now. My volume's high. I did 95k and then 85k running this week, or last week, then this week.
But right around the time that you got into High Rocks was getting cool. Like, it was, I think the first time the London Excel happened, there was like 800 people, and that was 2021. Yeah. And then in 2022, I think there was like well over 10,000 people.
I think they just had 20,000 people. I think we just had 20,000, didn't we? On the one we were at.
It's crazy. Yeah. So you really jumped on that surfboard as the wave was coming.
Yeah.
And tell me about your coach a little bit. He's the guy who's been helping out with all
this. Rich. So I went in on my own, the first one, and then my back went out a little bit, and then me and Rich just started talking. So Rich used to be head S&C at Wolverhampton Soccer Club, which when he was there was, I think, Championship, and then they got promoted into the Premiership. So he was there from a young age, like 19, 20, which is huge. Like, that doesn't happen very often, considering like soccer in the UK is like obviously NFL in America. Like, you got to have a pretty decent repertoire to get into that level of strength and conditioning as coaching. And then he left that a couple of years ago and started doing his own coaching, and then started understanding the science behind High Rocks a little bit more. And then because we were both, or I was training in a gym next to his gym, we just started chatting and saying, and he obviously saw the potential and said, I'd like to help you out. Let's do it.
I like Rich a lot. I think he's smart. The time that I have spent time with him, he also helped count my laps in Stockholm.
Yeah, he's a very good counter, if nothing else. If nothing else, he's very good at counting your times.
If you count my laps, you have a special place in my heart.
Yeah.
Kyle counted my laps for me at World Championships in Manchester. So I flew to Texas just to help him run a 100-miler. That's the kind of guy. If Rich was like, "Hey, I'm running a local turkey trot," I would fly to
Just for that.
Birmingham just to support. I'd be his cheerleader.
Yeah, I think that's his biggest thing. Is he genuinely really cares. Like again, he would, if I was just competing on a Saturday randomly, he would travel the 4 hours, 5 hours just to be there, just to count laps and just to be there. So
That's a
what he
real
knows,
coach.
isn't it? Yeah.
That's a real coach. So you get into High Rocks, and like, what made you say to yourself, like, I'm in? Because there's a lot of stuff going on in the world. There's a lot of opportunities. Like, why did it really sink its teeth into you?
I think it was the epitome of like fitness. Like one, I probably like I'm not trained CrossFit really, so I couldn't. And I remember, I wish I still had the video. I really wish I had the video. In COVID, I filmed myself once, and I said this like a journal type thing, and I said I'm going to be the fittest man on the planet, and I said it on the video, and I don't think I ever deleted it, so it's probably out there somewhere. It's probably in my cloud, but I really wish I had it because I was a little probably like prepubescent. I developed quite late, and yeah, I wish I still had it because that's kind of it's probably similar to you and it's similar to a lot of guys. It's not about the money or the fame or the anything else. There's something in me that just wants to prove and be the best at fitness or running, like whatever it was, whatever I put my head into, I wanted to be the best at it. And I still think I'm 25, so I got time.
Some guns.
I think if I like close my eyes, and I often do this, so don't judge me. If I think about this, like this gladiator, this like avatar of a person that would like destroy all worlds, like when the aliens come and they're like, send your best warrior, I think of myself, and I think about the training and like the performance that would be necessary to be that like unstoppable warrior. I'm not talking about like pistols and all that kind of stuff. I'm just talking about like raw power battle, just the most like fit motherfucker who can just keep on going and bashing. I really do think about High Rocks. I do think about like that bandwidth of time of just like our engine just flowing and just burning so hot and ripping through repetitions, weight, all this kind of stuff. And I bet you there's CrossFitters right now just sitting there and be like, fuck you motherfucker, fuck. I can snatch and walk on my hands, bitch. Like, I don't see that. Like, I don't feel that, to be totally honest. Like, I've sat around a lot of professional football players, American and whatever British football players, and I've seen them and I've seen their body types and stuff, and I've competed against them also, and I feel like I can just squash them too. I'm like, put me in the center of a battlefield versus any of you guys, and I will tear you to shreds.
Do you ever imagine yourself you ever watch the movie Gladiator with Russell Crowe?
I would fuck Russell Crowe.
Those first few battles where he's telling people how to team up and going 3x3 and knocking off the lines.
Jake would lock arms with me, dude. He'd be one of my soldiers. We'd be going side by side. Let's go, baby.
Nice.
And I know this sounds crazy, but like this is the kind of like hyper focus and like, transformation that you have to make into your mind. Like, I truly think you need to be able to visualize this like epitome of amazing character, like the utmost highest version of a human being, and then you need to just keep on finding a way towards like just building towards that. And I will sit there and I will visualize, I will look at pictures, I will watch movies, and I'll see all these like action heroes and stuff, and I don't see them as like a character. I see them as a potential for myself. And like I'll put the earrings in, I'll cut my hair weird, I'll put clothes on, and I just keep on allowing myself to form into that character. And, I'll tell this to anybody, like if you can find a way to see it in your brain, then you can find a way to make it happen in real life. But if you do not, if you don't have that picture in your mind, how the fuck do you ever think you're going to get there? Like you need to be able to see what you want to become and believe in every single day. Where I have Post-it notes all over my house with numbers, paces, weights, everything. And, I think my question to you is like, what would be the ultimate version of yourself? Being that you're a young guy right now and you probably have a good 10 plus year career if you really want it. Like, what would be your epitome? What would be your high point?
I think the potential's there to be world champion. When you piss off.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the dream. That's the goal. And I don't know how whether High Rocks will be around for 5, 10, 15 years. I assume it will if we all kind of keep leveling up and taking the sport to where it can be, and people start to see it for like it's especially. I think you have to do it to be able to really understand,
Get an appreciation.
the quality and the standard. Like I had a friend, I was with her today, and she's a wicked swimmer, like one of the best swimmers I know. And she did at High Rocks, and she got massively humbled. And she said it to me. She was like, "I was so humbled by it." Like she's a very good runner as well. But that's the point where people are like, "Ah, shit, you are very, very good at what you do." Like my brother and sister, they did a High Rocks together, and they ran a 1:12, which isn't a bad time. Like it's a decent time. But they both afterwards turned around and looked, because it's when I ran the 56 with the same weight that they used, and they were like, "You are you are something else." Like it's that moment where you're like, it's almost not even like a validation thing, but it's understanding that I am pretty fucking good at what I do. And as you said, it's that owning it and having a bit more pride, I guess, within being High Rocks being a sport. And I think it will get that when it eventually, if it isn't.
It's coming, dude.
Yeah,
I mean, it's there actually.
Yeah, it is there, but it's there within a fitness community. So we're almost in a bubble, aren't we?
Yeah, but it's much of the reason why we're doing this podcast right now, all this kind of stuff. Like I took this level of responsibility on myself, not for like some altruistic kind of guy, but I was like, I'm not going to sit here every single day and wait for opportunities to come to me. I'm going to go get them.
Yeah.
And I don't really see, like, there are podcasts in the space and things like that, but I was like, I'm going to help expand upon it. I'm not just going to let other people do it and expect them to get the job done. I was like, no, I'm going to show up and I'm going to produce content every single week at a higher rate than anybody else in the business to keep on moving this thing. And literally, like, now, like, I'm walking around and I was leaving Miami, and the guy who took my ticket was like, "Oh, you're Hunter McIntyre," like without even seeing it. And I was like, not like, "Oh," it was more so like, I'm like, yes, that is me. He's like, "I watch all your YouTubes." We go to a restaurant. "Oh, dude, I watch your YouTubes." I'm like, "Fuck yes." I was like, "This is it. This is it." And I think like everybody, especially somebody in your position, should wake up every single day and know that, like, yeah, sure, I could post a picture of me in my underpants looking good, and like, you look fucking great, dude. We all know that. You're a handsome ass dude. But then also have that second piece of the puzzle being like, I'm doing this to shape something. Let's see some of these handsome pictures of Jake. The TV. Oh, dude. Since we get to see Paul right here in the middle picture, how much of an addition to your life would you say that partner has been to you?
Oh, massive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's everything to me.
How long you guys been together?
4 years.
I wish I was gay every day.
So he got you right after you turned 21.
Yeah, he snacked you up, dude.
Yeah,
I'm gonna grab this little snack right here.
That was the first one. That was in Barcelona. So that's been there for, when did I post that? March 2023.
Yeah, dude, you guys look so happy. I don't have pictures like that with girls in my life. Girls just come in.
You look genuinely happy.
Yeah. So I want to talk about like
These your nieces.
Where you're going.
These are my proteges. Them two boys. They're quick, man. He's 10 years old and he runs a 20-minute 5K.
That's hysterical. I was talking to a couple CrossFit Games athletes because I was just over at Wadapalooza, and one of the girls contacted me. She's like, "I did a 5K and it took me 32 minutes." And these are considered like the fittest on earth. And I'm not trying to insult her by any means, but it's crazy that a kid can be moving that fast. Yeah. Does the rise of hybrid athlete content on social media like BPN, Nick Bear, and other related help find High Rocks or give them an idea? You know what's really interesting? There's this community of hybrid athletes, and then there's the community of High Rocks athletes. And at least in my mindset, John Patst, like there is hybrid training and lifestyle, and then there's hybrid sport and fitness racing. And like High Rocks is the epitome of hybrid sport. I don't think there's anything else that's defining it in a better way. I don't think there's anything more professional. It's cool to go out and run a marathon, and that's a marathoning, and it's cool to go into the gym and power lift. And, hybrid sport is one of these kind of things where you train both of those things to meet in the middle and do something that's grandiose. But going towards marathoning, going towards powerlifting, you're going to the opposite sides of the bandwidth, and you're trying to be very versatile and also tall in both of those aspects. But to be able to bring them all together and test them, which is High Rocks, that's why I am where I am. I'm sure that's why Jake is doing the same exact thing, because in reality, running a fast marathon, let's say you run like a 2:45 and then doing a 500-pound deadlift, those things are both super isolated, and then all of a sudden having to do this figure eight of the two of them at the same time is the crazy part. That's what makes you an athlete. You're responding to action rather than these very acute experiences. Because marathoning is just keep a heart rate balanced for as long as you can. Powerlifting is like engage and contract your muscles in this one point in time and just move it 12 to 24 inches. Man, having to jump up and down and do 80 meters of burpee broad jumps, thousands of meters on machines, sled pushes, hundreds of wall ball reps, lunges, all that kind of stuff, and find a way across this mountain range of fitness to be able to hold that down and succeed at it, that's a fucking chess match of fitness. That is very complicated. It is very challenging. And there's a reason why, it's taking over the world, because everyone's like, once they do show up, like much like you said, your siblings did, people are like, oh, wow, there's something to this. This is interesting. This is hard. I want to do more. So hopefully that answered your question, John Patst. I'll put an extra plate on Jake's. Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
I like it.
So I have a curiosity. Now, take this. We're having a conversation here, so be patient with me while I finish my sentence. You're in a very interesting position where you are an athlete role model and you're a gay role model. You now have this thing where brands are coming after you like crazy. You have this opportunity to work with some of the biggest brands in the world. Like you just worked with Marvel and Disney. Was it Disney Plus? Something like that. But Disney is probably one of the top 50 biggest businesses in the world right now. Lululemon is probably top 5 biggest clothing companies in the world. These are huge, 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 huge businesses. There's this question of whether or not they're coming after you because they see that you're a gay flag holder or an athlete. And do you have that conversation with yourself where you're like, yeah, sure, I am gay, but I want you to see me also as an athlete. I want you to understand that I am this person who has a lifestyle associated with this. And do you ever sit there and worry with yourself that all of a sudden you might get wrapped up more in this side of the puzzle than this one?
It's tough because at the end of the day, you need to make a living as well. High Rocks doesn't pay, especially when you're someone in my position where you're 25th, 26th, 27th in the world at the moment. So you have to look after and protect yourself for one. I think when brands align and things fit, then it really works. I spend time with my management and speak to them about what brands do we want to actually work with. Lots of deals come in and we say no because we just think it's just not the right fit. There might be some things where it doesn't quite align. So I think I'm in a fortunate position where I'm able to turn things down as well, rather than just sort of chase every single paid gig. But yeah, I think the as you said, I don't want to have to wait for people to come to me. I want to build something myself that is powerful and can have all of those messages within it. So that's why I've created my business called Better the Next Day, because it's about that. It's about getting people into sport and fitness, and we all know the benefits of exercise. And then 2,
is it your gym that you're potentially going to start?
So we just have the gym And then the run club launches on the 31st of Jan, which is cool. So we've got some cool work with that. Yeah, going to be like 150 runners, which will be nice.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah. So the reason why I asked the question is because you're in a very powerful position, and also this is a warning, and also just remember your true north. And I all the time keep on getting contacted for influencer positions, and like they're offering me a lot of money, but then I just think to myself, I'm like, is that really Hunter McIntyre, or is that just a paycheck associated with Hunter McIntyre? And obviously you have to pay your bills, and you're starting to do very well, which is awesome. Like, I want that the most for you. Like, every single time you tell me about a new opportunity, I'm like, yes. I'm like, fuck yeah, man. I'm so pumped. I just wonder, like, have you had those conversations with yourself and sat down maybe with Paul and being like, what is this going to really look like? Because you're growing momentum so fast. Every time I turn around, I'm like, more followers, more likes, more opportunities. I'm like, he's getting it. It's starting to come up. I'm like, this is it, dude.
Yeah, and as you said, like at the moment, my true goal is to be and perform the best, and that's why I didn't come out this week to you or last week because I just wanted to focus and train, and I didn't want to lose 2 days of training, and I turned down going to a big event at Stamford Bridge yesterday because I know I needed to train in the morning and rest.
Yep.
And if I went into London, I'd have a 2-hour train journey. I'd get paid however much money, and then I would come back on another 2.5-hour train journey. But I would go in and pick up loads of different germs and illnesses and things like that. So it's, as you said, like, yes, we do have those conversations, and I work my ass off. Like, but yes, I post quite a lot and I share a lot, but like, that's only a snippet of exactly how much work goes into putting it in. So yeah,
people only see a square.
No one's feeling those reps when you're running around the track. No
Yeah.
one's feeling those like we did a 600 reps the other day, 10 times 600, and we were running at 250s per kilometer. Like, no one else is feeling that pain that you're going through to get you to that next level. Like, that's what people see it, but they don't feel it. And that's
they just see you showing up race day running fast, and they're like, "Oh, I wish that must be nice to just be able to run."
Yeah, it's not as simple as that, is it? So, yeah,
it's nice because I just put in that 10 by.
Yeah, train hard, race easy.
Hey, what did you do with Marvel?
So it was just a bit of a promotion for their new TV series.
Oh, okay.
So hopefully it leads to a few more bits of work with them because they're, as you said,
was it voice stuff, or was it using?
So it's on the Instagram. It was like I went in and then did almost some like background stuff. So it's like that.
Oh, okay.
And it's me doing a voiceover as well.
Yeah, baby, get down on the ground like that.
Dang. Oh, I see you. Oh, I see the Disney Plus logo.
Yeah.
Michael asks, we just sometimes answer guest questions. Dude, I've been leaning out for the past 6 months just through a specific style of training. I've stopped eating as heavily as I was before. Like, when I raced in Birmingham, I was 216, 98 kilos, 97 kilos. And now I'm down to, depending on the poop, I'm down to about 90, 91. That took a lot of work, and it's just timing. Anybody who's listening to this, you got to be really, really careful where you don't want to peak too soon. You overtrain, you undereat, all this kind of stuff. So calorie deficit can be good, but it's more so switch over from steak to chicken, switch over from red meat to ground turkey.
How much fats are you eating, Hunter?
A lot less. Yesterday was different. We were watching football and I had like 3 steaks, but so today I got on the scale and I was like 204, which I don't like to see, but I definitely I think I had 3 pounds of meat yesterday when I was eating. And it's not like that those 3 pounds of meat have just disappeared. They're still sitting in my gut right now. I haven't taken this like gargantuan poop. But I think the biggest thing that I can tell anybody right now is start watching your fats. Like, anybody who's trying to tell you to eat high fat and train, they're an idiot. And they're probably just like trying to have a buzzword to talk about while you guys are and trying to sound interesting or smart. Or in reality, if you look at any super high level athlete, you got to be cranking carbs. Kevin wants to know, he says, he said he saw that you're an 800 meter background. How much do you think having a big speed reserve helps the running in high rocks?
I guess it's this, it does make a massive difference in a way, because as long as you have the endurance base as well, and because I've ran marathons and things, I have that. If you can crank out an 800 in 154, then doing an 800 in 205 is pretty easy, or not easy, but it's a lot easier. It's the same with a 5K. If your threshold is 4 minutes per K, then running a 4:30 is going to be pretty comfortable. So the quicker you can run, essentially, the easier it is. Essentially, but obviously
Dude,
there's a few variables, isn't there?
It's pretty crazy, dude. My coach has been having me do 200s with up to 5 minutes rest in between. I never train like this.
Yeah, that's just pure speed.
And
Watch
I started out.
Hamstrings, old man.
Yeah. Oh my god, dude. I literally had like trouble sitting, and like I went out to dinner the other night, and my hamstring just cramped up at the table, and I was like, I look like such an idiot right now. It's hard to explain these things to normal people, but dude, we've been doing like 6 to 10 800s, and it started out like in the 28s, 29s, a couple 27s. Then it was all like 28s, 27s, and a couple 29s. Then it was all 28s, 27s. Now it's all 27s, and like almost breaking over into the 26s. And I then go over and get on the treadmill, and I am doing intervals with a 20-pound weight vest on at 5-minute flat for a minute with 10 seconds rest in between each one. And I float.
Easy, yeah.
I float.
So like I did a long run on the weekend. I did 21K at 4:30. We were just jogging and chatting, and it's not to blow my own trumpet, but it's when you do those faster reps and put the work in, those longer, easier threshold runs become quicker and quicker, and you start being able to chat through a 4:24 4-minute K pace or 6:30 7-mile pace.
A lot of it's just economy. Your body will learn through higher intensity to be more efficient at lower intensity, because it's less muscle recruitment. Your body just understands that it needs to become a little bit more aligned with itself to stay efficient. Otherwise, you're going to exhaust yourself at a higher level. So
also, everyone works differently. Like, you have to find what works for you.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, it's good to bit, but once you've done it for so long, you definitely learn and adapt to what suits you each week. Like, I can comfortably hit an 85-kilometer week without getting injured, whereas I've got friends that can't even hit 60 without getting injured, but they manage because they do different levels of intensity or a lot more slow stuff, or when they do the intensity sessions, they're all in, and then the rest of the time they're backing away. So find
Bulk Pony Express, baby. Dude, look, did you guys see this new hoodie, by the way?
Yeah, I commented but your headphones weren't on.
Oh,
I want one.
You guys a little jealous? I could bring you one.
Yeah, bring one to Manchester.
But I do want a picture of you poo bearing it, meaning you got to post it on social media of you wearing biceps when races, no underwear underneath, just covering up just the dainties. So it's like, what's under there? Could I see it maybe? Maybe if I zoom in, I'll catch a little something. I need one of those. Even maybe if it's something for my own personal thing, and I'm going to put it up here on my wall. Like, that's my boo. That's my boo, baby. So, I want to just talk about like what you got going on this season, because I think you're a star, and I think a lot of people that are listening to this probably already know about you, but I always think it's good to make statements and then have your network hold you fucking to it. So I want some goals right now, and then every time I see you,
Rich will tell me off, because I put something in a group chat the other day. Because obviously people ran fast this weekend just gone. There was 56s thrown down in Maastricht. I don't know how you say it, in Germany.
Who did it?
Ryan, you're gonna have to check for me because I don't know their name. And yeah, one of the Brits ran like a 57 as well. I hadn't heard of him before. But yeah, for me, Rich will tell me off for saying, because he says internal pressure's good, but external pressure.
Oh man, Tomas TVRDIK ran a 56:21. Lucas Storeth ran a 56:49, and Great Britain guy Afan Humphreys ran a 57:37.
Yeah, Kieran said the sleds moved fast. So.
Yeah, dude, it's so tough. Like, Germany is iconic for having fast races, and then they just go over and everyone runs these fast races, and then I see them face to face, and I just grease those bitches so hard.
Yeah, so it's hard. I want to get to a point where I can start racing.
Yeah,
that's where I want to be. And then so whatever it takes to get that, essentially. I think in Manchester I'll probably run a 57, hopefully.
Ooh, 57 Manchester. All right, this is the notes. Okay.
Jake, do you want to qualify for Worlds this year?
Yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah.
This 57 would get me into Vienna, and then hopefully run fast in Vienna when it's a race.
I'm really curious. So I don't even understand how this works. So do those guys in Maastricht's good times now all of a sudden get them into the Elite 15 for Vienna?
Yeah.
So they've already contacted us to ask if we're going to race. So
I'm pretty sure. Anyway, I actually don't, I could be wrong because I'm hoping to go to Vienna off my Manchester time, but that's only 2 weeks prior. But if I've already booked my open ticket in Vienna because we're going to go out there, and then me, Max, and the Forders boys and Rich are going to go skiing the day after.
there
And
you
none
go.
of them can ski, so I'm going to be babysitting them for a day.
Spoiled dog. Noel Radigan says sub 57 gets you into the Elite 15. So I guess those guys came in. I mean, good for Lucas Sorrath. You know, this guy is the old bear that's still sticking around, and he's now probably got one of the top 10 fastest times in the world, which is good for him. But I would not say, and people are not going to like me for saying this, those times are very reflective of the reality of a good course with good athletes. Like these guys right here, I think I could beat by like 8 minutes, if not more. And wait, let's go back for a second. Did Ciaran race open?
Kieran did, yeah.
You did open.
Yeah. So he's doing doubles. I think I tell you what though, I think Graham's doing singles pro now because he's been knocked out. So in Manchester,
Really?
him and they're gonna.
Dude, we had that interview and I was like, fuck. So is he doing singles pro in Manchester?
Yeah.
Oh, so they're not racing us anymore.
I don't think so.
Fuck.
But that's just what I've heard from the grapevine. So I haven't heard that from him.
Wow, dude. I would too if I was him.
Yeah, he has to, essentially. But I don't know.
Dude, he's screwed.
I don't know how fast he can get with running. And I know he'll probably see this, but I don't know how fast his running is.
I don't know, man. I contact a lot of the guys in the Elite 15. I'm like, I know that you guys are my competition, but I'm happy to give you some advice for coaching because I think a lot of these guys, like, dude, he went from 5th in the world down to now out of the Elite 15. Like, he's going backwards. And I don't know. Like, I think a lot of people look at this stuff and they just like randomly put stuff together. They find out that I am lifting heavy, and then they find out that, like, you know, this other athletes running high mileage, and then they start lifting heavy and running high mileage, and they're like, I'm going to be on a high mileage heavy lifting plan for the next 12 weeks, and then they end up at the end of it and they've just totally screwed themselves over because they're doing too much at once and they're doing it the wrong way. They're like, it's really, if you're training this stuff, you have to learn how to blend it. I mean, dude, I've had such a good time talking to you. I'm super excited to spend the weekend with you in Manchester. Yeah. We're going to shred. You're going to shred. You know, confidence is key. Training is just the support to back it up. But you have to have a sharp tip of the spear, and that is all your mind. So show up sharp. Know that it's backed with a lot of weight of hard training and experience. You've got a great team behind you. And then just let it go. You know, the worst thing that could happen is you end up at that finish line with guilt that you didn't push harder.
Yeah.
Like, it's better to fucking flop than to sit back and sip on some tea in the middle of that race. Like, I'd rather you be sick to your stomach, cramping, crying, every aspect. Let it all out, dude, and then rest afterwards.
Yeah, I'm excited.
You're going to crush, dude. We've really been grateful for you coming on the show, and I just want to give our end cap, if you guys are still listening, thank you for showing up. We want more of you guys to give us some reviews. So if you guys can go on and review our Spotify or whatever, you know, Ryan probably has more details.
Music.
Yeah, you guys, tons of you guys show up to listen to our show. Nobody leaves reviews. I am heartbroken.
I'll leave a review for this one.
There we go. There you go. There you go.
Stars, baby.
That's right, dude. And then the other aspect is, guys, Builder is basically right around the corner. We should in 10 to 15 days have Hydro back for you guys, Strength X2 back for you guys. House Training is starting the Ultimate Engine 3.0 today. That's something I've been talking about for a really long time. If you guys in hybrid sport, the investment of getting involved in this group and working with us for the next 12 weeks, even if it's just a really, really wise lesson you get to learn, it's worth the investment in time. I think it's the most important thing you do is invest in yourself and stop fucking around and pretend like you're a genius. And last but not least, guys, Go Brewing. We always want to thank them for supporting us this month of Dry January, which I've failed multiple times. But let me tell you something. It is nice to have something. We were watching football yesterday, and I was sipping on these bad boys all day long. And my friends were crushing regular beers. And that's why I'm going to wake up today and absolutely annihilate the gym. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. My handsome boy, I will be seeing you soon, PB.
See you Thursday, maybe.
Yeah. I'll end up there early Thursday morning. We're catching the train straight to Manchester. They're picking us up, then we're going to that seminar. So I'll be seeing you guys soon.
Also, hey, we're going on tonight.
Oh yeah, we are going on tonight. We got the
7
girls.
p.m.
EST, baby. All right, if you guys want to do a twofer with us today, show up. You'll be asleep probably. You need your rest.
I'll be sleeping.
All right, bud.
I'm actually at Forders tonight.
Are you?
Yeah, Monday night Forders.
Tell Paul I say hi.
I will do.
Nice one, guys. I'll see you, dude.
Yeah. Ciao.
Later, guys.
Bye.